Hi, welcome back. My name is Cole.
And I'm Andrew.
And this is CTRL-AC.
CTRL-AC is the podcast where we finally talk about the future of spatial computing.
We first got rumors of this, what was that? I mean, we've had rumors of an Apple VR headset for years now, since the first Oculus, right?
Oh, yeah.
But this started becoming more and more a thing towards the beginning of last year. We got more leaks, everything.
Right. Then we got it. We got a whole unveiling at Dub Dub.
And then we got an unveiling.
And we spent, 45 minutes just talking about the announcement. And we've ended almost every episode since then with if you can get us the Vision Pro, please do. So if you're listening to this, you have seen the title. Ladies and gentlemen, we have tried Apple Vision Pro.
Okay, so me and Andrew have both experienced the Apple demo of the Vision Pro, which is a very locked down, very basic showcase of the abilities of the Vision Pro.
Right off the bat, we are not reviewing the product. This is just a first impression.
Right.
We can't review it because we don't have the thing in hand with no restrictions.
But if you want to send it to us,
more than welcome to. Caviar, notably, has still not responded about the solid gold Vision Pro that we emailed about a long time ago. So Caviar, just go ahead and send that.
Yeah,
real quick.
It's gonna be so heavy.
The thing is already heavy. If you plate it in gold,
it's not that heavy.
That's what we're gonna talk about. I think that was kind of overblown on Twitter, as were a lot of things.
Yeah. So there's a very strategic experience to the demo. They're
you have to book it.
You
go on the Apple Store app, you book a shopping session Vision Pro demo. Walk in the store, you scan the QR code. If you've been to a Genius Bar, you know the experience.
Right.
And you sit down. They have an iPhone. You do a Face ID type scan, and that matches you with the light seal and the cushion, the band, all that stuff. So you don't have to try on 10 different Vision Pro straps and light seals. They just know which one you need. For me, that worked pretty well. For you, it worked pretty well.
Yeah, it was spot on. They have what would they say, 8,000 optical inserts for all different types of...
It's a lot. I know that. I don't know the exact
I was
number.
talking to the guy while you were doing something, and he was they were telling me how much stuff they had for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But it's custom-ish made to you when you get there. So
they have all of the parts, but they assemble it for you.
Even when you buy a Vision Pro, they scan your face there, and they custom build the Vision Pro, yours.
Yeah.
Put it in the box.
I'm pretty sure we watched 4 people buy it that night.
Yeah, a surprising number of people bought it.
Yeah. So there was a strategic way of putting it on. You had to grab it under the nose bridge with your thumb and the 4 fingers on top.
The light seal attaches magnetically. So if you grab it by the light seal, which is what you would instinctively do, you'll drop it.
Wouldn't you grab it by the outside and
if it's sitting on if you grab it at all by the light seal and not the front glass, it will detach and you will drop it.
And then shatter your glass and then pay $500 for a new repair.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Okay, so you'll pay $800 to repair it or $200 with Apple Care, but the Apple Care subscription is $500.
It's $299
with Apple Care.
So it's the same price.
Right.
So
if anything, you're paying more because you have to pay for tax twice.
The only way Apple Care on the Vision Pro makes financial sense
is break it more than once.
Break it more than once. So putting it on, you grab the front of it. I guess my first impression was it feels heavy, but it feels like a normal headset. I didn't think it was that
Me and Andrew have
heavy.
both worn almost every generation of Oculus at some point.
Yeah, I haven't used a Quest. I've only used a Rift.
Really?
My VR experience is not that extensive. I will say it goes all the way back to Samsung Gear. I think I tweeted about this.
The phone in the thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
My grandparents got an S7 or S8, whatever phone it was back then. But that came with Samsung Gear. And I remember we were in, I think, a hotel lobby or something like that. But they brought the thing out. And I played Deer Hunting Simulator on that. And I was living in the future.
That was the first implementations
the coolest
of VR
experience.
were the coolest things that we probably experienced as kids.
And it was terrible.
Like, it was bad.
Looking back, it was terrible. But it's really cool. It was really cool.
Yeah, I've tried the Quest 1, the Quest 2, or I guess the Meta Quest 2. I haven't tried the 3 because it like just came out and nobody I know has one. But my friend had the 1 way back in like 6th grade. I had the Rift, which me and Andrew have talked about and used both. And my sister has a Quest 2, and it's basically a Rift.
Is it at all comparable to Vision Pro?
Not even like close. Like, it is not even like a same experience. Imagine using an iPad as a phone for a bunch of years, right? Or like an iPod Touch, right? Like, imagine using that as like your main device. So you can call, you can text, you can do the things, but it's bad and only locked down, and you have to have like specific things for it to work. This is like buying a brand new phone. It's not even comparable.
It's like comparing like a Toyota Corolla to a 911.
Right? Yeah, like, pretty much.
They all
like a Corolla works to great.
They do the same.
Daily,
they do the same thing.
Same essential, get you from A to B.
But one does it so much better.
So much better. And some things the 911 has the Corolla doesn't.
Yes.
Like launch control and track mode and
like eye tracking.
Hand track, right.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get into that later, but the eye tracking is absolutely phenomenal on this thing.
Yeah, that's one of the first things that you experience. So you put the thing on. I was surprised with how smooth the band tightening is, or the strap tightening.
On every other VR I've used, any kind of headset or anything, it
had these little, there's a twisty, what do you call it? Dial, on the side of the, we were using the solo loop band too, not the dual loop band. So we're using the one that you've seen in all the promotional stuff, the more uncomfortable one of the two, but the like better looking one that doesn't mess up your hair. So you put that on, there's a little dial, you turn it and it tightens the headset, but the increments are so small.
If you've ever used a Snap-on ratchet, that's what it feels like. Like a 190 tooth ratchet that's just like so
you could just
smooth.
Turn it a little bit and there are these little clicks as you turn it for the perfect level of tightness around your skull, so it's not uncomfortable. So that was all good. Comfort wise, wearing the thing before the demo even started, it's a heavy headset. There's no denying that.
It's okay. Hot take. It's not nearly as heavy as anybody has said it is. Like the Rift was heavier and more uncomfortable.
Everyone on Twitter was like losing it about the weight.
Yeah,
and we only used it for like 25 minutes. We haven't drained the battery wearing it for 2.5 hours.
Right.
So maybe it's worse then. But we can't speak to that.
But for wearing it for 20, 30 minutes,
wasn't bad.
It was comfortable. Everything was fine with it, honestly. Like I could probably, if that display was a little bit better and you had a little bit more peripheral vision, I could probably wear that thing all the time.
Yeah, just hot swap the batteries.
Yeah.
So they powered it on. And the demo was here's how the demo works. You sit, at least in our Apple store. Some Apple stores have like a whole couch experience.
Yeah, some things it's a lot different than ours.
But we had a table with chairs. You sat in the chair. You sat across from the Apple Store employee. They have an iPad mini with what you're seeing in a little box, and then controls and notes and all of that stuff to control
diagnostic data, everything.
The demo.
So we have footage of that, but we're not allowed to show it.
Right.
For reasons, but it's like you said, just
it's what you'd expect. It's what you're seeing, and it's the controls.
Data on the side.
The thing. Yeah.
View of what you're seeing in the middle, and then some notes on the bottom.
Yeah, it's what you'd expect.
Yeah.
So the eye tracking is the first thing you set up. So they have you hold the crown on the top, and it moves the like screens in front of your eyes, and then you set up eye tracking. So it shows a ring of dots, and you look at each dot, and you kind of go clockwise and tap when you look at each dot, and that sets up the hand tracking and eye tracking.
It was really impressive how that worked too.
It was seamless.
Like you follow the instructions and you're done.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Once you have the headset on,
it'd be more intense than that. I thought it'd be like
moving
stare at this thing,
right.
and it wasn't bad. And then you do have to put your hands out in front of it to scan your hands, so it knows your hands, I guess.
I saw something. It doesn't differentiate between people's hands, so somebody could just come up behind you and just start typing on like an invisible keyboard.
If someone's wearing a Vision Pro, you shouldn't do this. But
imagine you're on an airplane and somebody reaches behind you, like over you, and is just...
You could just walk in front of them and tap your fingers, and it'll
open something.
You could just be like, hey, look at the close app button, and you just tap, or I don't know. You can interfere.
It'd be funny. But the eye tracking was phenomenal. So when you set it up, there are these 6 dots, like you said, you had to look at. Like, it's perfect.
Immediately. It is so close to perfect.
Honestly, sometimes the only thing that's wrong with, I think, the entire thing is how, like, it's cameras still.
Yeah.
And you're looking at a display. That's the only thing that needs to change for it to be perfect.
The eye tracking is incredibly accurate. If you don't know all of the stuff about Vision Pro, go listen to our Dub recap that we posted last June, where we talked about all of Vision Pro extensively. That'll give you all the specs, because we've already gone over all that. Mm-hmm. So we're not going to go over that. Today we're just talking about the experience of using it. One extra spec I will point out, and this is something that we've just learned recently. iFixit has... they have discovered the pixel density, PPI, of the Vision Pro. You're using an iPhone 15 Pro, right?
I am.
The pixel density of that is 460 PPI, pixels per inch.
And that's pretty good.
You cannot see pixels on it.
You cannot see pixels on it.
It is very, very good. 460 is great for a phone. Your sister has the Quest 2.
Mm-hmm.
So Quest 2 PPI. That is 773.
And you can see pixels on that.
Right. So 773. The Vision Pro pixels per inch. Keep in mind, the display on here is the size of your thumbnail, and the individual pixels are smaller than red blood cells. The PPI on Vision Pro is 3,386.
Wow.
It's just absurd. Every spec on here is just crazy.
They've got to have been like building this for the last 2 decades at least.
100%. I can't imagine the amount of patents that they have on every part of this thing.
Imagine if Microsoft would have won this. They introduced HoloLens.
I don't think anyone else can do it, though.
They brought HoloLens to the market in, I think, 2013.
Which was an interesting experience.
Yeah, it was not... It was good for the time. The technology wasn't there a decade ago. Right? Like, they didn't have self-driving cars on the road 10 years ago. But if they gave up after, I think, 2 renditions of it. They gave it two versions, killed it almost immediately after. This is the most technologically advanced consumer piece of electronic I think you can buy.
It is 100%. And that's what we said in our Dub recap, which you should listen to if you haven't. But you set up eye tracking. That works ridiculously well when it works. And sometimes it just doesn't work.
I actually 100%. Didn't have any problems with it not working.
Really?
Mm-mm.
There was like 1 or 2 times where I would look at something and it didn't like focus on it, so I had to look away and then look back at it, and then it worked.
But another thing is, like, you can like think you're looking at something, like
that's true.
You can focus your brain on something that you're looking right next to. Like right now, I see the whiteboard, but my brain is focused on the can of aerosol right next to it, like the spray can of disc cleaner. But I am staring at a dot on the whiteboard.
Yeah.
So like you're gonna have to like retrain your brain to actually like hyper focus on different things to use this.
You can't like ambiently glance at something while you're trying to click, because it'll click that instead.
Right. Like if somebody walks up and you look over and you like tap what you were just looking at.
Right.
You're gonna have to look back.
You're gonna be clicking them and not the thing. So you set up eye tracking. Immediately it goes to pass through video. I think this is the biggest weakness of it. One of the two.
Yeah.
Being the eye tracking and the pass through. Both of which are the very, very best we've ever used.
Ever heard of. honestly.
Right. Like when we say the pass-through isn't great, it's the best in any consumer level headset we've ever used.
It's great, but your eyes, it's still you're still looking at a camera through a screen.
Do not expect to put this on and forget you're in a headset.
Yeah.
It is still... Now, you can see color. I think Nilay in the Vergecast said that the Vision Pro display shows like 49% of the color your eye can see.
And that's a lot for a camera.
You can only see half of the world's color, though. Like, so that's kind of...
That's better than the 3 colors you can see with an Oculus.
Oh, true.
Black, gray, and white.
Yeah, true. But the pass-through is very good. You can make out what's happening. The refresh rate is high enough.
It's like 120, isn't it? Or if
90, I think, is 96 or whatever the 4 multiple of... Yeah, 96.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
I mean, if it was anything below 60 hertz, it'd be unusable.
Like
I think 90 hertz.
Rift.
Yeah.
Meta Rift, Oculus Rift.
Yeah, I don't even know anymore. It was actually the Lenovo Oculus Rift S.
The Rift.
So we're just going to call it
the Rift.
But pass-through was great for what it was.
You can look around. I could see the demo guy. I could see the other people in the store. It was great. It was fine.
If you're not like focusing too hard, you can't really like make out pixels or anything.
Don't expect to like sit down and start writing stuff, small text maybe. You'd really have to stare at it.
Even then, I feel like you could see it. Actually, I take it back. I did actually have a slight hard time reading text that was kind of far away on it. Like where it said vision, it was all kind of like blobbed.
Okay.
Because it also has that... what is it called? In a lot of games now, in first-person shooters, wherever your cursor is, it will...
Foveated rendering.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah. This does have that in it. Like, you can tell.
Whatever you're looking at, the priority is on that before the rest of the
So, like,
screen.
the stuff that's, like, if you're looking straight ahead, the stuff that's in your said peripheral vision will be lower quality to emphasize...
Which is good. That's what you want.
That's the... Yeah.
If you constantly have that thing like hyper processing everything you're seeing, you're just gonna burn through battery.
Like an 8K full of it's 8K, right? 2 4K displays.
Like 4K for each eye.
Right.
So you still see. Yeah. It's not. It's 4K, but like it's a couple pixels short of 4K, but.
Well, because it's not a perfectly square like display or the 16:9 display.
So pass through is good. So you start the demo. We haven't even gotten to the demo yet. So the first thing he has you do, or had me do, you look at the Photos app. Mm-hmm. You tap your fingers.
You cycle through all the different kinds of photos.
And the Photos app opened. Mm-hmm. It was magical.
I will say that all the apps looked crispier than the pass through.
Yeah, the app's laid over on whatever you're looking at. It's all very crisp. Mm-hmm. So you open the Photos app, and he said, see that photo over there? And he kind of pointed to it like on his screen or whatever. He said, click that. So I look over, and I click it, and it opens. And I'm looking at, like, you've seen an Apple stock image. Yeah. It's like a person wearing a colorful outfit staring off at the sky.
Yeah.
It's in all the keynotes. Mm-hmm. And he said, zoom in. So I took both hands, pinched on both hands them
together
and zoomed, and it zoomed as I expected.
And you with that same motion where your fingers are like together, like kind of together, like close together, and that like okay hand symbol like on each side, you can like move it around and zoom in and zoom out and move the picture around,
right, just like you would on your phone.
But
you
with
pinch
2 hands
and zoom
instead.
and and it was great. It all worked.
You could see like the full 4K photo. Like you could zoom in and not really tell.
It was great.
Phenomenal.
Then he said, click on that panorama. And I saw it, and it was great. It was wider.
Yeah,
and then
he panorama photo.
And then he said, do you see the little Vision Pro icon at the top? And I said, yes. And I clicked it, and the panoramic photo like wraps around you.
Yep.
So you're completely immersed in your panoramic photo, which in our demo was like an icy mountain cap.
And it wasn't like perfect. I mean, it was a panoramic photo.
It was a slightly blurry.
Because it's a panorama. It's not taken with the full megapixel camera, but you wrapped around you. Like you could like look around and see the whole thing. And then he said go to the, what was it, the 3D
spatial
photos. And he said, go to the spatial photos folder. And we went. And there's a video.
Before the video even.
Was it before the video?
It was a photo first. And it was
the
kid like opening a present or something.
Yeah.
Because you saw confetti like floating in the air.
Yeah.
So it just looked like a 3D photo.
Yeah.
Which isn't all that impressive. I've seen a 3D photo before.
Like if you've worn a VR headset.
But then we clicked on a spatial video, and it was a kid's birthday party, and the cake was in front of you, and the kid like blew out the candles,
and like the smoke like blew up into your face. It's
incredible. So hard to describe, but it genuinely feels like they are right there.
Yeah. And the other video was them playing outside, blowing bubbles.
And the bubbles are
they like
right
wrapped
there.
around, like it was insane. I've never experienced anything like that before.
You can take spatial video on an iPhone 15 Pro.
And you can
with
watch,
titanium.
Right, with titanium and USB-C.
Right.
And 15x zoom.
And action button. So you can walk around now, and whenever you shoot video, I guess, if you have a Vision Pro, you can just default to shooting it in spatial. In the Dub demo, they had the dad wear the Vision Pro and like follow his child around wearing the Vision Pro taking spatial video.
Yeah.
That's too far.
See, I feel like we should start racking up some spatial videos to take when we eventually get one.
I took one. I took one inside a car just to have, because I wanted to see how real it would seem. But like the next time I go on any sort of vacation, and I'm at like a landmark or on the beach or something, I want to just go down and like look around and stuff.
Next time at Six Flags, I'm recording a spatial video of a roller coaster.
Okay. Six Flags needs to make a Vision Pro app.
Yeah.
And have all of their rides. That would be
wait till GoPro.
So cool.
Wait till GoPro. Brings in spatial video
if GoPro and Apple team up and do spatial video support, or like Insta360.
Yeah, surfing, flying,
that'd be amazing.
Skydiving, everything will be essentially perfect.
That would be amazing.
One thing I brought up while Andrew was on it. No, I think I was in the demo, and I was like, what was it? What was I doing when I brought up the Disney treadmill? Oh, we were talking about gaming. We were talking about gaming. I was talking to one of the dudes about gaming. I was said, imagine playing something like paintball or airsoft, and you had like a 3D printed like rifle to that like could simulate a gun in the game, right? And playing that on Disney's Disney's treadmill thing, like their infinite treadmill, you can walk and run in any direction.
Right.
On the Vision Pro.
That would work.
It would actually be incredible. And stuff like Beat Saber, the way the stuff would just like wrap around you. I cannot wait for gaming on this thing. It's going to like bring a completely different...
It's all up to developer. The thing's running M2. It can run any game you want. Because Metal 3 and...
Right. And upscaling and optimization. And what is that thing that they said that you can port games to Mac now that never actually works well? Remember that?
That's not Metal 3?
No. They had like a second API that they released to developers.
I know the name of it.
Well, obviously not. So
it'll hit us later.
Yeah, the dude who was leading us told us we had to he guided us in moving the windows around. So there's a little bar, kind of like if you have a 10 or newer iPhone, that little bar on the bottom of your screen to swipe
the navigation bar. Yeah,
it was essentially one of those, and you would grab it with the one finger, and you can move it anywhere. And then you take your other finger and zoom it in. Zoom it out, move it anywhere, and wherever you put it, it'll leave it there. So let's say you're at your kitchen and you put a timer above a stove, it'll stay there. It doesn't stay stationary on the screen like every other headset does. It's going to stay there, and you go back to it.
Yeah,
like
that action was so incredibly smooth. Grabbing a window.
I thought it would be kind of like snappy, like when you grabbed it, would like jolt it up into your hand.
It didn't snap at all.
No, it literally
you can just move it slightly. And I could just put it over to my left and then have like a screen to my left and then put a new screen in front of me.
Yeah.
It was so smooth.
It was so good.
And this is Vision OS 1.0.
Yeah.
This is the original Vision OS with all the bugs, and it worked that well. So then he said, you have the window to your side. You can move stuff now. Turn the digital crown and do full immersion.
Yeah, so it's on the top, and you have to spin it. It kind of takes a second. It's kind of dumb. You have to like spin it a couple of times. It'll fill a circle.
Yeah.
And then it fades into a picture.
and it was a lake. You were standing on rocks looking at a lake with mountains on the side. That was when I was like, okay,
take my credit card.
Really good. It is the most immersive I know Apple doesn't like using VR, but that element of it is VR. That was the most incredible VR experience I've ever had.
A virtual,
Or it was until the last thing they did in the demo. But it was so real looking. The rocks on the ground were all textured. Everything was crisp. And then he said, pull up Safari. So we just pulled up Safari.
You press the little home button. You press the digital crown, right? Or was it the other button?
The crown.
You press the crown. It brings up like your home screen, essentially. There's a bunch of apps. I'm assuming, I wonder what this is going to look like as like, because it was the demo software. So like, not obviously. But you just looked at the Safari app. Press your fingers together.
Floated above the water.
Yeah.
And you could bring it closer. You could push it away expand it. It's all seamless.
Yeah.
So he said, go to a web page. So I went to theverge.com. So I looked up at the URL bar, clicked it. The keyboard popped up. So at first I typed testing 1 2 3 by looking at TESTING. You look at each letter and click.
Yeah.
And that works. You can also just take your hands and like put them in midair and like punch each key. Have you ever seen a kid type on a keyboard?
Yeah.
They take like 2 fingers and they just punch each key one at a time.
You can do that on the Oculus. That's what you have to do with Vision Pro.
Yeah. And it worked well. It worked fine. I saw a guy on Twitter on Monkey Type get like 32 words a minute.
I wanted to try Monkey Type, but he didn't let me type at all. My experience
was very controlled.
When I did mine, the second half was kind of bugged. Like I didn't work well. Like I tried to like click on stuff and it would like scale weird and the web thing was a jump. But I'm assuming it's just the demo software.
Yeah. So I went to theverge.com. I clicked on an article. I pinched and I moved my hand up and it scrolled. And I just scrolled through the article.
And then you could like how fast you swiped. Like when you're scrolling on a dock or like a web page, you swipe and it swipes faster, slow, whatever. It was really good.
It worked fine. I could picture myself sitting down reading an article on this thing.
Yeah.
It was fine.
So then he had us go back to the home screen and go to the supported apps folder on their demo software and open Yumly, which is a iPad native recipe software.
Ported to Vision Pro. Because all the iPad apps have, like the developers have a button they can click that just says like allow on Vision Pro.
So that was a pretty good experience. I mean, it was just like
you just scroll through the recipes.
Yeah. And then you can like move it around, set it like above whatever you're cooking, scale it down really small, and just set it there. Leave it.
It was fine. It all worked well.
You know what also worked well? The trailer that they had in 3D.
He said, go to the Apple TV app. So he went to Apple TV and he said, click the Super Mario trailer that is in 3D.
Yeah.
So we clicked the Super Mario trailer and we watched the 30-second video in 3D.
And it is not a 3D that you've experienced in a movie theater. It is so much better.
It is really, really good.
It's so good.
It worked well. It didn't look janky. It looked native.
Yeah.
It was a very good experience. Then we get to what is absolutely the most impressive part of the whole demo. Next to Super Mario, it said immersive demo. And he said, click that. And this is what ends the Vision Pro demo. You watched what was probably a 2 or 3 minute video of a bunch of different spatial environment, like video experiences. So it starts off, as soon as you click it, you are fully immersed in a music studio and there's a lady standing right in front of you singing. And I fully understood I was in a headset, but for a split second, you do feel like there's actually a singing lady standing right in front of you.
Yeah.
It was so good. And the speakers in Vision Pro are surprisingly good. The down-firing speakers right above your ears. They worked well.
They were actually pretty solid. They got pretty loud. Mine was insanely loud for like no reason.
So after the lady singing, it put you on a mountain and you saw this other lady like descending from the mountain, stepping onto a lower rock. You felt like you were on the mountain. It was crazy good. Then you watched kids play soccer. So you were standing on a soccer field. They were all playing in front of you. Then you saw like baby rhinos walk up to you, and they like went up to your face.
Mm-hmm.
That was really
actually
cool.
really interesting.
You looked over a mountaintop. You saw the LA sky like from a drone shot. There were people dancing. There was a shark. You stood on another tightrope. They had a pro soccer thing where you were standing on the soccer goal as they scored a goal and kicked the ball at you, which was really good. And then you stood in an MLB, like in the dugout, and watched a home run get hit, which was really cool.
It was really cool.
All of that was amazing. That was the whole immersive demo thing. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of faded to an Apple logo, and then the demo was over.
It was a very interesting video thing.
What do we think after a 30-minute Vision Pro demo, after all these months of waiting? What do we think?
I think it is perfectly described as they described it, or perfectly executed as they described how it would be.
I think it is an incredible first-gen product,
yes.
But it is definitely a first-gen product.
It's definitely flawed. Like, there's obviously things wrong with it.
Everything is best in class, but it's best in a class that is far from perfect.
A brand new class that they invented, basically.
This is a developer kit, whether Apple says that or not, just because it's so expensive. This isn't really targeted at mass adoption yet.
No.
I went and spec'd a 512 gig Vision Pro with an extra battery holder, and the carrying case. And my ready to Apple Pay amount was $4,489. So I'd be looking at $4,500 billed immediately for Vision Pro. $4,500 is a lot of money. There is no denying that. That is like heavily spec'd 16-inch MacBook Pro.
That's a car.
That is a cheap car.
That's your kid's first car.
That is an iPhone, an iPad, an Apple Watch, a 4K TV, and a like nice soundbar.
And a MacBook.
You can buy a lot of stuff for $4,500.
M2 Air, 15 Pro,
Apple Watch
9, 10,
TV,
whatever we're on. An Apple TV and another TV to pair with it.
And a soundbar.
And a solid sound system.
Maybe an
Probably
Xbox.
for 4K. And an Xbox.
So you can buy a lot of stuff for this amount of money.
Or Vision Pro, which you can text on. Can you? Actually, does it link to your iMessage?
Yes.
You can text on, you can call on, you can FaceTime on.
You
can use Safari on, you can game on.
They asked at the beginning of the demo, at least for ours, what other Apple devices do you use? And that kind of is revealing of the whole thing. If you look at the software side, it feels like an iPad and a Mac combined. It's very familiar. You have the same apps. They work the same way. They look kind of the same. And hardware-wise even, you have the magnetic attachments from AirPods Max. You have the crown. You have the button. Mm-hmm. It's like all of the years of engineering and research and development
like we said in the WWDC episode, Apple has been developing this over the last decade.
Yeah.
Building computers with their own silicon that they can put into stuff like this. AirPods, developing a sound system.
Imagine this with an Intel CPU.
A dual core.
Fans at max speed on your face. Face is bright red. It's just burning.
You're right. But Apple's slowly been adding to the technology to be able to do this. Their displays, their cameras, their audio, everything.
They have made a product that feels just like magic when you're using it. And it's just not always magical. Like it's a phenomenal experience, just not 100% of the time. It is still a first-gen product. Should you buy this? Probably not. Unless you really do have $4,500 that you don't care about. If you do, then you'll have a lot of fun with this thing.
Yeah.
It is worth it, in my opinion, just for watching movies. But if you're, not in that position, I'm certainly not going to drop $4,500 on this. then you may want to just wait for Gen 2 or an Apple Vision Pro SE, Vision Pro Lite, something like that. Vision Pro Air.
Yeah. They're going to have a cheaper one. Or honestly, okay, they may not. They might just keep this as a flagship device.
I just doubt that, because at the end of the day, they want all of the Christmas sales. They want to break into the
fair enough
family living room VR headset space.
Yeah.
And to do that, you've got to get as close as possible to $1,000. I don't know how you'd take $2,500 off the price, but the Quest 3 is like $500.
Yeah.
And that's a really good deal.
It is for what you get. And by the time the second gen comes out, maybe next year, maybe in 2 years, we'll be on like what, M4 or 5 by then?
Right.
If they continue the M series. They keep the same chip, maybe upgrade it 3, maybe put a 3 or 4 in it, like the lower end models. RAM is getting cheaper.
I would say they just keep M2 and the Vision Pro Lite.
Even that, yeah.
Like they don't do a spec. They take off the front screen. They just make
no front display. So that'll save them a lot of money. Make more of it plastic.
Our review of it, which is not technically a review, is that
our review of the demo.
It's the best in the world, consumer level. It's just still, it's the best of the imperfect head. Like no headset right now is even close.
It's
to
a
perfect.
smartphone. It's an Apple.
It's
an iPhone.
This is what we imagined the Apple headset would be. No one thought this was going to be worse than the Meta Quest.
Or like
we all knew it would be better.
And it wasn't magically going to be the most crazy 16K per eye, 11 million PPI display.
Well, I think it still is the most technologically advanced.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not saying it's magically advanced.
Yeah.
Like it's like government technology being locked away, but like they met the expectations.
100%. You can't, it is very much still a headset.
Yeah.
Meaning the field of view is smaller than I thought. Mm-hmm. The pass-through video is still pass-through video. And it's not, you can't really live with this thing and not always remember you're in a headset. When I took this thing off, I tweeted about this. This was like the most impactful moment of the demo. When I took this thing off, it really made me appreciate like how good the human eye is.
Yeah.
You took it off, and I think I said to you, you look like you're 8K.
You did.
Going from Vision Pro pass-through to the real world really still makes you aware of the fact that we're not at the point where this headset is going to replicate your eye at all. It is very much still a headset. It may be the closest we get to a perfect virtual reality headset, but it's still a virtual reality headset with all of the compromises that come with that. But it is the best. Media coverage-wise, this thing blew up. There were way more TikToks of this than I thought there would be. Most notably are the ones with people driving with this on. So there's a video of a guy driving his Tesla with this, and he gets pulled over. Some people say he got arrested. I don't know what happened. There's a video of a dude driving a Cybertruck with this thing. Casey Neistat has an incredible review of it where he just walks around New York City wearing this thing, and everyone just stares at him, and he just pops up windows on the subway and is just as advice, you probably shouldn't walk through a city wearing a $3,500 thing on your face. But he did it. It was crazy. Everyone was looking and asking questions. I think the general population is very aware of this in a way that I really didn't think they would be.
I watched Ryan Trahan's video today on him spending like a lot of time in it. And it really was interesting to see everybody's reactions to it.
Did he walk by other people?
Yeah, he was in public for like 2 straight days. He went he worked out, got coffee, did everything.
There's a whole philosophical question to this. Do we want to do all of our computing so in such an isolated space? Does this take away too much human interaction? Is it bad to be looking at the world through cameras for this many hours a day if you're just using this all the time?
Yeah.
Will we be buying this? No.
Absolutely not.
Definitely not. Not until a second gen.
I mean, if you want to send us both $4,500, go for it.
If you have a Vision Pro and you want us to review it, you can. If you know someone at Caviar, you can send us the gold one.
The gold.
And we'll review it. But this entire headset is still a compromise for Apple.
Yes,
they want to get to the AR glasses.
Mm-hmm.
They have leaned into AR way more than VR.
Yeah.
It all started back on the iPhone XS in that demo on stage that they did. It continued with the LiDAR on the 11-inch iPad Pro and 12 Pro. They've been building up LiDAR and AR a lot. And eventually we will have a sleek pair of glasses with all this embedded. That is the end goal.
That is, honestly, I give it 15 years for a solid pair of AR glasses.
I don't know how you could condense all of this tech into glasses.
Yeah, I mean, nano computers are becoming a thing. Slowly. Research.
And it would all have to be overlaid on the screen. Because with the AR glasses, that is the best form of this because there is no pass-through.
Right, you're also
the
looking
real
at the
world
real world
through the physical glass, like any other pair of glasses, with a screen overlaid.
Yeah, and that's not a projector.
Right. That is like the Tony Stark future.
Right.
That is what Apple wants. And the Vision Pro is just the first step in the very long journey to get there. And it is a solid first step.
Yes.
If we've learned anything.
It is a very good first step, first jump for Apple.
And if we know anything about first-gen Apple products,
the
ones coming after it improve very quickly.
The first iPhone was 15 years ago, about, give or take.
Just look at the jump from iPhone 1 to iPhone 4, just in the span of a couple of years.
Yeah.
Look at Apple Watch Series 1 versus Series 3.
Right.
That's an insane jump. The first iPad to the 4, these jumps happen quickly. First generation Apple product is the revolutionary one, and then very quickly it starts to mature. And it also makes a cultural impact.
Yeah.
The world of VR is very shaken up right now.
Yes, it is.
I guarantee you, like in the coming versions of the Meta Quest, they're going to try and drop the hand controls. Physical hand controls. Because that is a huge downside. They're going to try and go to hand tracking. That's the downside. Right. I think hand tracking is about to become an industry standard. I think pass-through is going to get better. And now Meta has an incentive to go and make a really expensive headset, throwing every bit of money they have at it.
That's not the Meta Pro thing that they built.
Right.
Yeah. So,
with that,
if you have...
I don't even know what to say.
I got you.
We've already tried the Vision Pro. There's nothing even to request anymore.
If you want to give us one, that's all we ask. If you would like to give us for nothing, you get nothing. We get Vision Pro.
We're not going to drive with it.
Not going to drive with it because that's illegal, probably. Wonder what the laws around stuff like this is going to be.
Is there a law that says you can't wear a Vision Pro? Like, I know it's
I'm sure
illegal,
there's something
I'm
sure, like anything obstructing your field of vision.
Is it obstructing if you have passed through the...
Well, yes. Anyways, unless you'd like to send us one.
Officer, I had all of the windows to the side. I could clearly see the road.
Let me see.
Puts the thing on.
And it's like just YouTube right in front.
That's funny.
But yeah, if you have any questions specifically, comments, concerns, you can message us on the platform with the most Vision Pro driving in a Cybertruck videos. I'm at Cole WW Webb.
I'm at Utterly Drew.
And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye, y'all. Control-AC is sponsored by The Complete Backyard. The Complete Backyard is your solution to building your dream outdoor living space. Whether it's a pool, cabana, outdoor kitchen, pergola, whatever you need, they have you covered. To request a consultation, you can go to thecompletebackyard.com.